Hello, and welcome to another edition of Ben Wolkoff Debriefs the Transition. Today, I would like to capitalize on some of the conversation that we had yesterday at the retreat, as well as some conversations that happened throughout the day. So, yesterday, we talked about the idea of a body of knowledge. We would have the stream where we share information and everything like that, but that we would be carefully curating and creating a body of knowledge that we would share across the team and that we would potentially share publicly. And it was really valuable for me to hear how folks have done that in the past, how you would like to do that in the future. But it was really sort of a case in point today when I reached out to Jan via Hangouts. I was going to meet with the principal over at A Hills to talk through the fact that we're switching from Chromebooks to iPads for 6th grade implementation. The Chromebooks are not going to be ready. The software on the Chromebooks is just not going to be ready, and Pearson is really worried about it. So we're shifting over to over to an iPad-only implementation for year one. With that said, I needed some more context in order to understand what has happened over time over at A Hills. Over the last few years, what support has looked like, what the teachers know, don't know, what are the areas where we might have some integration points. And so I reached out to Jan, and she did an amazing job of just typing up, these are the things that I know, these are the teachers that I've worked with, this is how it has looked in the past 2 years. And that was sort of just this moment where if I hadn't asked those questions, I wouldn't have been able to continue to build that relationship. I wouldn't be able to ask the questions with the principal. I wouldn't be able to go to those teachers' classrooms and understand the context for what has been in terms of PD, what has been in terms of support. And I feel like that's super important to be able to have that body of knowledge. And then I had a conversation with John Youngquist. We had a one-on-one, I guess. So Lori, John, and myself. And we talked through this idea of the creation of a body of knowledge and what that might look like. And he was very excited about the idea that we would be, as a team, sort of co-constructing that. He wasn't necessarily interested in everybody engaging in a body of knowledge, but that we could really start with the schools that we support and the way in which we support them, that we would develop this understanding of this is the work that they're doing. These are the teachers that we're working with. This, and it's not documentation for the sake of documentation. And he got that. And I think that's something that I really would like to be able to do over time, is these moments that we have to ask one another, what's going on at this school? What has gone on at this school? What could go on at this school? That we're documenting some of that, but that we're also, I took pictures of an amazing classroom at A Hills. It was the 6th grade math classroom where they were using Chromebooks to research a question that they wanted to answer with data. And so they were creating this amazing poster, and they were all different, but there was one girl who was researching, I think it was how many kids play soccer in the world. And there was another guy who was working out a Mexico-specific question. And so there were aspects of cultural identity, personalization, because they were able to ask their own questions. They were using data to support their understanding. And, it was a great piece of tequity that I was able to observe in this classroom. I want to share that. And this is a good way, and Nick was talking about it yesterday, this is a good way of doing that. But unless you watch this video, and until you get to 4 minutes and 30 seconds, you don't know that that's happening. There's no way for me to sort of document that over time. And so, as we continue to develop this idea of a body of knowledge, I'd like to think through what goes there. Because there was some information that I wouldn't want to be public necessarily about what Jan told me, right? Where do we store that information? But a great example of Techquity, yeah, that's a piece of body of knowledge. Like when we can go and see a classroom, virtually, essentially, right? Like I took a picture, I was able to ask questions to that teacher. And if I can start to document that in a place, then you know about it and you can research it. And if you have to go in and support that school, or if we change communities, or if a new person comes in, we have that body of knowledge. We understand it. We know how to use it to our advantage, to create cohorts, to start looking for more lead learners. So anyway, that's sort of the question that I would like to continue to answer. And Jackie, you did a great job of providing feedback yesterday that this was something you really want to come back to, in thinking about how we document our work and make it useful for us, make it useful for improving our practice, make it useful for sharing across communities. So the question is this: what should we document in our body of knowledge? And I'm really talking about a wiki, essentially, a Google site. A way in which we can collaborate on all of our schools, on the teachers, and support the great work that is happening across the district. What should go in our body of knowledge? I hope you had a great day of creating, teaching, learning, and leading today. And I hope tomorrow is just as amazing.